I feel like the spoken word community for a long time hasn't really been given the shine that it deserves.
I think a program like this kind of inspires creativity around what spoken word is.
That is the real important piece to what we're actually doing here and what Harbourfront is trying to establish through KUUMBA 365. It's very, exciting to be working with a group of people, but at the same time, you're still working individually, and then we get to come together and see what everybody created.
So this project is, I want to say, an exchange of artistic ideas between artists.
We've been asked to come in, take a look at some of the work that's being displayed, and to take an opportunity to write our perspective, our vision, the message that we're getting from this art through poetry and spoken word.
Randell and Paulina, the three of us are a part of a collective called the Spoken Soul Collective, and we perform together, we produce events together, so we work very closely as a unit. The last few weeks have been spent seeing what thoughts, ideas, inspiration has come to mind so that I can take this, visual art and create something that is spoken word that responds to the piece. So it all starts with stuff around the French Revolution. Then the middle is the Russian Revolution. Then this next part is based on this person that was called Dr. Death.
Yeah.
So those are all little bits of those stories and how it all connects to some of this stuff on the chessboard. So I chose a piece called Time of Change, and this piece, it spoke to me on a number of levels. The idea of revolution, the idea of war, the idea of media and how that connects to people.
And then they have this giant chessboard, which I thought was really interesting in terms of who the chess pieces are created from different characters in history. Like the folks she chose, why? Why these folks?
Yeah.
I feel often when we're looking at social justice movements, we're looking at heroes. Not everybody here is heroic. They're actually there are villains in this.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. You can kind of see how those things have shifted the courses of history. You can see how they've weaved in stories of the injustices that happened. You can see where they've kind of weaved in some juxtaposition between when the oppressed maybe became the oppressor. Yeah, it's really interesting when you look at revolutions based on class versus revolutions based on race.
Is that there's no evolution without revolution. So every revolution creates a new evolution of, I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to say about this, and now here's the opportunity to kind of say it, and just kind of being able to sit with the ideas of what it is that I really wanted to say. You want people to be able to get it, to see it, to feel it, to understand it, and to recognize the connection between the inspiration and this new piece of work that was created.
Man, that was an experience.
I'm not even top that one.
What I appreciate about it is I think for me my favorite part was the sound. Because the sound took me on a trip, and then when it ended I was like, oh, I'm back. So Abattoir USA is a video piece that speaks to kind of the boundaries that we've created in society around death and the death of animals when it comes to slaughterhouses, and just how we've kind of protected ourselves from seeing how our meat is being processed and made. And so it's more so about the machinery, the industrialization of the meat industry, but I also do see it as kind of a metaphor for how we create boundaries to protect ourselves as opposed to open doors and transparency. If you're gonna put it on my plate and I buy it, why can't I see how it's made, So I think that's really interesting. I think for a lot of people, I hope that they are able to get a better sense of how we are kind of contributing in our own way to the unethical practices that are happening in these slaughterhouses. And I hope that we can be a little bit more mindful of how we contribute to that.
I think it's it's easy to go into a gallery and to look at art and have it stay on the wall. And I think, you know, when people hear the response, I hope that it's something that they take with them, that it's not just something that stays in this external environment, but now it becomes a part of you, it challenges you. I always say that, you know, I don't want people to hear my work, I want people to feel the work. And I think that's how the art moves from just being this thing in a gallery to now being this living thing within people.
I love the collaboration and the opportunity to collaborate with like a different medium of artists and to kind of react to their work. I think it helps us to think about spoken word as going beyond like the slam stage or just like an open mic or something. It really shows that the work and pieces that we put together have a lot of depth to it, a lot of thought put in.
I think poets have always been kind of philosophers, revolutionaries, like they think outside the box, they speak truth to power, they speak truth in general. And so, you know, KUUMBA 365 giving us the opportunity to do so allows us to kind of speak on what's happening. And so this is a really great, unique opportunity, and hopefully we're able to flesh out some of the messages of the art and the installations so that people can kind of dissect their own interpretation, like even deeper.
I also think it's really important for an institution like Harborfront to continue to kind of recognize this art form as one that is so important and kind of continue to mainstream or bring it into the mainstream as a mainstream art form and validate that the work we do as oral storytellers and oral storytelling and oral narration has been a very important kind of skill and role that artists have had for many, many generations before there's paper, before there was pen. And so it's kind of like a continuation of this very ancient traditional piece, but bringing it into modern times and continuing to validate it and legitimize it.
I think when we're looking at the concept of KUUMBA 365, you know, the importance is how do we continue to create more opportunities outside of February for Black artists to be able to pursue their art, to be able to imagine art and their creative selves in a different kind of way.
Love. Always.
Take care, be well, all right? Any of y'all play chess, by the way?
I do.
You do? Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, this is just wow, like just wow.